What's good? What's good, guys? Coming at you guys with a new video today. This video is going to be added to the story time series, I guess. And today's story time is going to be the greatest mistake I believe I've ever made, or at least what I thought was a mistake, and later on ended up being, I guess, one of the greatest lessons of my life. I don't really think that there's mistakes, but there's like lessons to be learned from this. I could honestly tell you, if I probably sent myself right now back in time till the time that this mistake was made, I probably would have still made the mistake. And I've always had this mentality where the mistakes that we've made end up being one of the greatest mistakes, or don't end up being a mistake, but end up pushing us to do the things that we should be doing. One of the philosophies I think about life is a video game. In a video game, if you run out of places to run, if you run out of alleys to go to, you know the video game is gonna finish when you go where the bad guys are, and that's where you should be going. So, you know, wherever the problems go, I follow, you know. So kind of why I would, if you told me back then, if I went to myself and I said, hey dude, don't sign, bro, don't sign, bro, trust me, you're gonna regret it, do not sign. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Trust me, you'll regret it. Got nothing to lose, man. So what ended up happening is the biggest mistake of my life was purchasing a car. Let me rephrase that. Biggest mistake was financing a car. Or at least the bigger mistake was financing a car that you couldn't afford. So let me paint the picture of what happened exactly. Let's just say at the time of my life, I was a senior in high school and I was getting ready to graduate. And I had a car already, but the car that I had was breaking down. That's where the mistake was. Should have kept the car that I had. So now I'm graduating and I decided to purchase a new car, which ended up being, or I guess not the mistake, but what ended up being the mistake was financing the car and staying into a contract for almost 7 years. Was it 7 years? I think it was more like 5, 6, somewhere along the line, but it was more than 4. More than it takes for you to get a college degree. Now, I'm not saying you need a college degree, because to be honest, I'm not going to promote a college degree at this point. And even back then, I didn't promote a college degree, which is why when I ran for president in high school, one of the biggest promises that I made was, I'm not doing this to put on a college resume. So around that time, I just graduated high school and I didn't really have the plan to go to college, but I did want to go to college. I started going to community college for a little bit. When I went to community college, I realized, you know, I needed a more reliable car. And I could have easily fixed the car that I had or purchased a brand new car and figured out all the problems. But that's where the problems began, because having a car isn't just having a car. It's like having a child. You have to put gas, you have to put tires on it, you have to put oil, you have to put changes of all kinds of stuff. And even then, just like you spoil your kids, you're going to spoil the car. And at that point, it kind of became this Fast and the Furious kind of life, but let's get into that a little bit later. One of the things that I always wanted was a Scion, and specifically a Scion TC. I don't know, I guess I'm attracted to the whole customization of it. It became your car. And at the end, I end up realizing, you know, that everybody wants a car that's unique. So I guess that's the thing that branded Scion from the rest of them, that you ended up getting a car that did not match somebody else's. So I ended up picking up the car that I wanted. I think everything was fine, but the problem was, I specifically remember, and I'm not trying to point fingers or anything like that, but I specifically remember that when the ultimate price came down to, I had a budget and I told myself, if the car payment is not this much. So this is exactly what happened. At the time, I was working at a grocery store making about 80 bucks a week. So at this point, I'm working at the grocery store making about 150 about every 2 weeks, which wasn't about enough for the car. The car was about, or I was thinking about $100 a month. When I got to the dealership, it ended up being over $300 a month. The car note ended up being about $300 a month, and my mom decided she was going to help me out, giving me $100 a month to help me for the car note if I could make up another 100. So I thought, you know what, for 200, that sounds like a pretty good idea. But times came a little bit tougher, and my mom couldn't really help me out, so I had to pay the car note fully, which I didn't really blame her. I mean, we all have our own bills. However, see, I'm approaching this video the wrong way, because one thing that I want to talk about is, when you buy a car, I want to show all the stuff that's a necessity when buying a car. My car note was $300 a month. At the time, my insurance, because I was a teen, ended up being $250, almost $300. Insurance was almost $500. So between the car and insurance, I was paying about a little over $600, just car and insurance. And on top of that, gas, tires, brakes started adding up. So that's when I was starting to think I wouldn't be able to go to community college, or I'd have to go to work longer, or I'd have to think, what the hell am I going to do? Well, the solution came pretty quick when I found a better job, and I ended up getting paid a little bit more. And that's where things started going the wrong way, because I didn't really finish college. I just stopped going, but I was making a lot more money. And that could be another story for another time, but we'll get into that later on. I didn't finish school because I decided, you know what, I'll end up working, paying off the car, paying for more stuff. I guess that's what pushed me to work more and work harder, and I ended up making a lot more than I think I would have made if I finished school. However, the things that I learned, I didn't apply until later on in life. One of the things that I learned was I shouldn't have probably financed the car at the time, because I couldn't afford it. I don't think I'll ever buy another car from the dealer unless I'm going to lease it. Being at a dealership for a while, realizing how much a car really costs and the price, and the minute that you buy a car, the price goes down on it. I decided, you know what, I'm probably not going to ever buy a new car ever again from the dealer, and that's one of the greatest lessons that I've learned. Now my car is worth a lot less than what I paid for originally, and all I ended up paying for was interest. My credit good? I mean, my credit hasn't really moved anywhere. I mean, that's another story, but I mean, the point that I'm trying to make is leasing a car would have probably been a better option at the time. You know, exactly thinking about it right now, I wasn't ever really planning to resell the car at any moment, so it didn't really matter at what price I bought it. So I was looking to see who would maybe finance the car initially. Now, when I bought the car wasn't popular enough to find it at any other, so I ended up buying it at a big dealership and having to finance it through a whole big corporation. Either way, like I said, I don't regret it, but it ends up not being the greatest mistake, because if I didn't get the car, I probably wouldn't have had the job that I had right after, and that could be for another story. But because of that, I got the job, and because of that, I mean, it ended up leading to a lot more other things, maybe discovering who I really am. Let's say, for instance, I didn't buy the car and I ended up staying and I ended up going to school. Who knows what would have happened? But I do know that I don't. But one thing is for sure, that I'm glad I am where I'm at right now. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are planning to buy a car right now, should you guys buy a car? I mean, if you guys are having a family, I understand you guys get a big truck. You guys can go to a mom and pop shop, maybe to get a small loan, and then buying a used car from somebody that you guys maybe know. You guys can always look online and find maybe good deals. There's so many new options now that the internet exists. You guys have an app now where you guys can just get the car that you guys want and find sellers and basically people that are willing to transfer the car to you guys. And that's today's sponsor. So make sure for real you guys like this video, give me a comment, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys in the next one. I hope I wrapped that up good. I'm not really sure. Guys, I really hope that I wrapped that up good. If I find anything that I'm missing, maybe I should probably write these stories down.